Tonight you are going to fail at something your ancestors mastered without even trying. You are going to lie in bed. You are going to close your eyes. And you are going to wait for sleep to come, sometimes for 20 minutes, sometimes for an hour, sometimes not at all. You will blame your phone. You will blame your coffee. You will blame your stress. But the real answer is far stranger. Your ancestors did not sleep the way you think they did, not even close. For most of human history, sleep was not one long block of unconsciousness, it was two. Historian Roger E. Kirch spent over 15 years digging through old diaries, court records, and medical texts from before the Industrial Revolution. What he found changed how scientists understand human sleep. People did not sleep from 10 at night until 6 in the morning. They slept in two shifts. The first sleep began shortly after dusk. It lasted 3 or 4 hours. Then something remarkable happened. People woke up, not in a panic, not checking a clock. They simply woke, because that is what their bodies were built to do. This waking period lasted 1 to 2 hours. People used it. They prayed, they talked, they had sex, they visited neighbors. Some got up and tended the fire. Others just lay quietly in the dark, thinking. Then, when the body was ready, second sleep began. It lasted until dawn. E. Kirch found references to this pattern in hundreds of documents. Doctors gave advice about which medicines worked best between sleeps. Poets wrote about the quiet hour after first sleep. Court testimonies mentioned crimes that happened during this middle waking window because apparently that is also when people got into trouble. This was not a rare habit. It was normal, expected. Barely worth mentioning because everyone did it. So what changed? Artificial light changed it. Before gas lamps and electric bulbs, night was dark, truly dark. The kind of dark you have probably never experienced unless you have been far from any city. In that darkness, the human body followed an ancient rhythm, one shaped by millions of years of evolution on a planet with a very predictable day and night cycle. Your brain contains a structure called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It sits in your hypothalamus, roughly the size of a grain of rice. Its entire job is to track light and darkness and use that information to control your internal clock. Neuroscientist Charles Czeisler at Harvard has spent decades studying this clock, and his research shows something surprising. Without artificial light, without clocks, without schedules, the human body naturally drifts toward exactly the pattern E. Kirch found in the old records. Two sleeps split by an hour or two of quiet wakefulness. In one of Czeisler's most cited studies, participants were placed in conditions of extended darkness, 14 hours a night, mimicking the long nights of a pre-industrial winter. Within weeks, without being told to, they split their sleep into two distinct phases, on their own. Their bodies simply remembered. Which raises the question, remembered what, exactly? Here is where it gets stranger. Some researchers believe this two-part sleep pattern was not a defect but a survival tool. Early humans lived in small groups, often exposed to predators, rival groups, and unpredictable threats. A single, deep 8-hour block of unconsciousness would have been dangerous, but two shorter sleep periods broken by an hour of alert wakefulness in the middle of the night meant someone in the group was more likely to be awake and aware at any given moment. Anthropologist Carol Worthman, who has studied sleep patterns across dozens of traditional societies still living without electric light, found strikingly similar segmented sleep among groups in Africa and South America. Groups with no historical connection to European sleep habits yet showing the same biological pattern. This suggests something important. Segmented sleep was not a cultural invention. It was not something people decided to do because it was clever. It was written into the biology, likely shaped by hundreds of thousands of years of nights spent around a fire, half listening for danger even while resting. Your ancestors were not sleeping through the night. They were sleeping in careful shifts, wired by evolution to never fully let their guard down. Then, in the space of about a century, all of that vanished. Gas street lighting spread through European cities in the early 1800s. Electric light followed by the end of that century. Suddenly, night was not dark anymore. Factories ran shifts around the clock, cities glowed after sunset, and the biological rhythm that had guided human rest for hundreds of thousands of years was essentially overwritten in a few generations. By the 20th century, the two-sleep pattern had vanished from cultural memory almost entirely. Doctors stopped mentioning it. Novelists stopped writing about it. Within a few generations, most people had no idea it had ever existed. Consolidated 8-hour sleep became the assumed, unquestioned default, not because it was more natural, because it was more convenient for a world that now ran on factory whistles and office clocks. So when you wake up at 3 in the morning and cannot fall back asleep, and you reach for your phone in frustration, thinking something is wrong with you, consider this. Nothing is wrong with you. You may simply be doing exactly what humans did for most of their existence on this planet. Waking in the dark, alert for a while, waiting for the second half of the night to begin. The frustration is not because your body is broken. It is because the modern world has no place left for the hour it used to give you. There is no fire to tend anymore, no neighbor to visit at midnight, no quiet dark to sit in, just a glowing screen, a racing clock, and the pressure to fall back into a kind of sleep your ancestors never actually practiced in the first place. Tonight, when you wake up in the middle of the night, you might not be broken. You might just be remembering something your body never forgot.